Hi and welcome back to another Amazon selling video. My name is Nikki Kirk and today I'm going to be answering some of your questions on Amazon selling. But before I do that, I'm going to do something I've never really do, which is to ask you to subscribe, like, comment if any of my content is helpful. When you subscribe or comment or like, it helps the algorithm know on YouTube that, hey, this content is good, and then it'll tell YouTube, share it with other people, and that's how other people can find my channel. So I'm not really pushy and I never really say these things. I never, slam the like or whatever it is that people say. I don't really ever say that. But I recently found out that people don't actually know that that actually helps the content creators. So if you like any content across any of the platforms on social media, subscribing, liking, following, commenting, all of that helps the creator and it doesn't actually cost you anything. So if you like my channel, you like my videos, subscribe, comment, like, however you want to engage. It helps me and it costs you nothing. So hopefully that, helps me help other Amazon sellers as well. Alright, now let's jump into the questions. These questions were all from a giveaway I did in June. I gave away $500 PayPal money. So it was questions that came through on the forum. I just said, do you have any questions or comments? And these are some of the questions that came through. First, Dominique wants to know, what do you do if you have an item that is over 25 inches? So Amazon FBA box requirements are that it can only be 25 inches on the longest side of the box. So what do you do if you have an item that is over? Well, you just find a box that fits it. If the item itself is oversized, Amazon already knows that and it's totally fine to send in, boxes however long it needs to be to get the product there. So it doesn't really matter. Only if all of your stuff inside the box is not 25 inches long, then the longest any one side of a box can be is 25 inches. Alexander wanted to know, how do I know when to quit my 9 to 5 and go full-time into Amazon FBA? And this is such a personal question. I can't tell you, and you probably shouldn't listen to anyone who tells you when. Everyone's income levels and what they need to either survive or, have a comfortable life is different. So I can't tell you, after X amount of months or X amount of profit, you'll be able to quit your 9 to 5. Some people actually just continue doing this as a side hustle while they work their other job, either because they like it or they just need the second income, whatever that may be. So for me, I was able to, I didn't have a job, but I was making full-time income after 5 months, but it really kind of depends. So some people, I did a video not that long ago where new sellers were like, I wish I wouldn't have quit my 9 to 5 so soon. So it really varies on what you need. I would say when your Amazon store is to the point where you are making money back, profit, where you can go out, turn around, and your business can buy more inventory and you can pay yourself, I would do that for a couple months. And then if you are sustainable and it's still working, then think about quitting your 9 to 5. It's all personal. You might be totally fine not making a lot of money and just hate your job and you want to quit. So it all comes down to you personally. I can't tell you when, but I feel like you might know. And if you are one of those people who's like risk averse and just always scared, maybe just take the plunge if it's time. If the only thing stopping you is fear, all those kind of things. So I hate to give advice to quit your job, but if you don't like your job and you can make something else work, don't let fear hold you back. Elena asked, if sending in products becomes slow due to just having money available to send inventory in, will that be an issue and will your account be at risk? Your account won't be at risk. You can slow down your selling at any time. Amazon doesn't really care, but it is just going to slow down your money coming back. So when you have large gaps and when you send inventory, like when I take like a couple weeks off from sending in inventory, it definitely, my sales just slow down. So that is going to mean slower profit coming back. So that's just something to consider. But as far as your account being at risk, it will not be. Jan asked what to do about proving that you bought the item when you pay for cash so you don't have an invoice or receipt. And I would say that you should always have an invoice or receipt. Even, if you've ever heard of like salespeople, they make up a receipt themselves to give to their accounting department. You always need to have a receipt of some sort. And as far as proving it to Amazon, I would question buying something. It doesn't matter if it's cash or not, you should have a receipt. But if you're like not going to get a receipt or you're concerned about it, that's concerning to me, because as a retail arbitrage seller, you want to be selling brand new items. So unless you're selling it used, you want to have a receipt of some point. Even Marshall's receipts, you can like take photos with the products the barcode on it next to the receipt just to show, have proof if Amazon ever asked you for proof of receipt. But even with cash you would have that, so I would just be careful where you're buying products unless you're selling them or listing them known used, because you want it to be brand new, not counterfeit, no sketchy stuff, okay? Crystal asks, how do you evaluate a listing that has a lot of variations? And typically this comes from clothing type items. So say this shirt came in like blue, red, green, and then it has all the different sizes, right? Extra small to like 4X or whatever. So that's a lot of, every single one is a different variation. And so when you are evaluating them, I always try to stick to lower ranks. The lower rank, the better, because that one whole page, that rank is for every single one. It's all kind of convoluted. Now, some listings, like bundle listings, you might find like a lotion where on the one page it'll say, you know, single pack, double pack, all of that. That's pretty easy to figure out, and oftentimes they will have different ranks even though they live on the same page. But for items like clothing, go for the lower ranks, and just know it might take longer than normal to sell. Like when I list shoes, shoes always take a little bit longer even if they have a great rank, just because of that variation. So it doesn't mean not to buy it, it just means expect that it'll be a little slower. George wanted to know that if you sell a lot of products on Amazon throughout the year, will you pay that on taxes through your profit or the whole money you make? And you guys, I am not a tax expert. As someone who's self-employed and has done this, I will tell you that it all comes down to, like, you file, just like if you had a W-2 job, you get, you know, how much money you made, and then you might have expenses out of that. Typically, if you're just a desk job and you don't have expenses, you won't have, but if you're like a salesperson, you start to take your mileage and all that kind of stuff off of it. So I use TurboTax in past years, and all it does is you say you're self-employed, and then it literally walks you through all the deductions. So Amazon's going to give you a 1099 that says you made X amount of money, and you're going to be like, no, I didn't, because you had a lot of expenses. Your cost of goods aren't taken out of that. So that's why you want to keep your receipts for everything. And then at the end of the day, your tax amount, you know, after, if you give personally, all those different things, if you have kids or all the different tax credits that come out, your taxable income is going to go down, down, down as you fill out your tax forms. So I'm not a tax expert, but you do have to pay taxes as a self-employed individual. So yeah, just know that profit doesn't really come into it. I mean, the IRS is saying the money you made, the taxable income, is your profit, right? But anyways, I'm not an expert in any ways. That's just what I know from doing my own taxes. But get an accountant. I got an accountant last year and I was very happy I did. On that note, Alan asked, how do you keep up with your accounting? So I use QuickBooks now. I have it attached to all my bank accounts and credit cards that I use for business, and it all goes into QuickBooks, and you say like cost of goods or office supplies, marketing, all that kind of stuff is broken out, and my accountant is tied into that, so she uses that to do my taxes every year. So that's how I keep up with my accounting. There are platforms like GoDaddy Bookkeeping, I think, is one. You can find bookkeepers pretty cheaply now. There's a lot out there, so you can look around or ask around if you're in any groups or anything, if anyone knows one. But yeah, you can do it yourself too with QuickBooks, which is how I do it, even though it's tied into my accountant. Even myself, I can run reports and see what everything is in there. Leslie asked about pricing FBA versus FBM. So FBA is fulfilled by Amazon, where you pack everything up and send it to the Amazon warehouse, and then Amazon fulfills it to the customer. And then FBM is fulfilled by merchant, or as I call it, fulfilled by me, and that's where I'm going to pack up the item and ship it direct to the customer. It's not going to Amazon at all. So pricing, typically FBA you can price higher because the customers are going to have Prime delivery, which is 2-day delivery from Amazon, and you can demand a higher price, like $1 or $2 more, probably even actually more depending on the unit. FBM is trickier because you kind of want to match other FBM sellers. Customers on Amazon are always going to look for FBA, typically if they're Prime members, but if your FBM price is really good, you can make the sell under FBA. So in general, FBA should be priced higher, and you want to be competitive to win the buy box. Along those lines, Hilia asked, how do you make a FBM and an FBA listing on the same product? You actually make two different listings, and you say one is FBA and one is FBM. You can have two separate listings like that. The problem comes, you can't have two FBA listings or two FBM listings of the same product, meaning I'm saying I have this one and it's $29.99, and then I make another one the exact same thing and it's $24.99. You can't do that. So, but you can have an FBA and an FBM. Literally all you do is add the product to your inventory twice. Cindy had a question that wasn't Amazon related, but I thought it was fun to answer anyways, and she just asked, how do I find my campsites when I'm in all the states? So I use an app called All Stays, and it literally is a map, and you can go, like, so I can go on Utah, and usually I'll look for bodies of water because I like to camp by lakes, and I'll just see what campgrounds are around there, and I zoom back out, and on there you can click through and go to the website or see the reviews. So All Stays is the app I use. Diamond said, maybe I'm missing something. I've been doing Amazon FBA for 2 months now, and I'm curious if there's a community to gain inspiration or just a community to talk to. Now, there's a ton of Amazon groups out there on Facebook and elsewhere. I will say that a lot of Facebook groups in general, sadly, are kind of like negative and rude and full of rude people. I don't know why they are rude on Facebook, but they are. It's like that in the RV community as well. But I'm very proud of the communities that I've built. There's the Bolo group. Each Ungating guide has its own group. I've got the FBA beginner course, which has its awesome group. So I've got these groups out there, and they are really positive and encouraging. Everyone's nice. You learn, all that kind of stuff. So those communities are available. But really, you got to kind of go out there and find it. Random note, people will often email us because of Rootless Living magazine and be like, where are the other solo travelers, solo female travelers, whatever it is. And it's kind of like you feel like you're the only one. You have to be slightly proactive and go out there and find your community. Be assertive, confident, insert yourself, ask questions, and if you get a response that is negative, you can kind of like, okay, maybe that was a one-off. But if you see a theme happening in that community, Facebook group, whatever it is, that might not be the community for you. So just kind of find your community out there. I mean, I've done it on Instagram with, you know, I have my workout community from years ago, and I still follow so many of them. We talk, all that. So you just kind of have to find the group that jives with you. And fortunately and unfortunately, online makes it easy. However, because it's easy, people can kind of hide behind screens. So you have to do, you know, protect yourself and don't surround yourself with negativity, but you can find community out there. My community is open for anyone to join. It is paid because it's a bonus to the supplements. So the Bolo group has, you know, the list, but you also get this awesome community. The Ungating guides have the Ungating guides to help you get ungated, and then they also have this awesome community. So it's there if you want to join. As always, all the links are always below in all my videos. Vanessa asks, what do you do when you can't find any products and your inventory is getting low? Just keep getting out there and scanning. It can get super frustrating if you are not finding anything. And just know that that does happen throughout the year. There's like cycles in retail, and so there's cycles in retail arbitrage. And if you are scanning and you're not finding anything consistently, think about the stores and the categories that you are scanning, because you might need to change it up. A couple years ago, I told this story that I was in Tuesday morning scanning the regular that I always scan, so toys, grocery, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go in a new aisle, and I went down the like party craft aisle, and I found a bunch of napkins. So you gotta kind of branch out into aisles that you don't typically go to, and stores. Try a new store if you're not finding anything. Definitely just keep getting out there and scanning, because there is stuff, and if it gets super frustrating, take a little break and jump back into it when you are excited about it again. Aubrey asked, what time of the year is it best to start selling on Amazon? She said you mentioned Q4 is really great and you have a lot of sales, which it really is. Honestly, there's so many hindrances to people starting selling on Amazon that you just have to start whatever month or time of the year it is. I started in August, and I actually think it was a good time because when Q4 rolled around, it was around my 5th month, and so I was doing it long enough to kind of know what I was doing, and also that's when I started making more profit. So it's definitely starting around July, August was great, but you can honestly start anytime. So I don't know when you're watching this video, but if you are just not starting because you're scared, just start. It doesn't matter what time of year you start, it will be good. You can learn no matter what time, what age, you know, whatever's going on in life. If you want to make this happen, just start and start learning. Don't put crazy expectations on yourself. Just give it a go and see what happens. Koa asks, what do you scan if you are a new seller? And you should scan the home and kitchen. Now you might find brands that are gated and you'll think, oh, I can't sell in this category, but you actually can. So like I can't sell KitchenAid. I used to be able to, but they regated it maybe 2 years ago now. But you can sell other kitchen items. So you might find brands that you can't sell, but you can sell kitchen and home. So definitely scan those. Clothing is also really great. I'm talking bras, underwears, baby clothing. So Ross, Marshalls, all those kind of stores have really great finds. So scan clothing. You can sometimes sell pet products. I think some are gated and some are not. So that's another category. Books is a good one. I don't personally sell a lot of books, but a lot of sellers start with books. Office supplies, party supplies. You can actually sell some toys when you're starting out. Definitely get out there and scan. I say scan the Walmart clearance aisle just because there's so much stuff and it's a good, like, you'll be like, oh, I can sell that. Oh, I can sell that. So definitely just get out there and start scanning. You will encounter a lot of gated categories, but don't let that stop you. Just put it on the shelf and scan something else. Now, if you do want to get ungated, as always, I have my ungating guides which can help you. But if you are limited on funds, you don't have to get ungated, but if you do want to, I would recommend Topical and Grocery to start in because you can find a lot of stuff. And Topical is beauty, and so you'll find a lot of beauty products you can sell at Ross and Marshalls. So that's what I would recommend, but again, you don't need to, and don't buy anything in your business that you don't need or want. Mark asked, how do you scale and prioritize when you have limited capital when starting? You really want to, if you have limited capital, you want to spread it out as much as possible over your inventory shipments, and you also want to take extra time to check the product, check Keepa. I would absolutely invest in Keepa. I believe it's 15 euros a month, but it might have gone up, I'm not sure. But you definitely want to invest in that because you want to double check everything you're buying. And that is a great learning experience because you'll learn really quickly how to use all that stuff. But just keep rolling it over and don't expect to take any profits out for quite a while, especially if you're limited, because you need to take all that profits that you're making, roll it over into more inventory, and just keep that going until you get to a level where your business is, you know, doing better and you have more money to buy inventory, and that will just continue to grow your business. So just know it's going to take a little bit longer, but by no means does that mean it won't work. It will work. You just have to keep doing it. Charmaine asked, how much do I spend every week on cost of goods? So out buying inventory, how much do I spend? It really depends on how much I am finding while I'm out there. I don't have a limit. I have credit cards that I think if I wanted to go crazy, I could probably spend $30,000 in a week with the credit card limits that I have. But I personally, anywhere from $1,200 to $4,000 a week. It just depends. Sometimes it can be even more. I mean, one Q4, I was out dropping thousands of dollars at every Walmart. Like every Walmart was $1,000 and the cashiers were like, wow. But I was finding a lot of stuff, and so I don't let the funds, luckily I'm at the point in my business where I don't have to let the funds stop me. I can keep buying more inventory to sell. But on average, I would say it's probably really every week in between the like $1,200 if it's a slow week and I'm not finding a lot, up to like $3,000. I'd say like maybe $2,000 to $2,500 a week is what I'm probably averaging, and that's sourcing anywhere from like 4 to 8 stores a day in 1 week because I only go sourcing 1 day. Rachel asked, how many Walmarts does it take before you find something you're sourcing? She says her Walmart clearance aisle is not the best, and so she's not really finding anything. Like I mentioned before, it kind of ebbs and flows, so sometimes the clearance aisle in Walmart is just garbage, and sometimes there's so much stuff on it. It also varies by store, so you might just be in a bad area, or smaller Walmarts might not have a lot of stuff. Every clearance aisle in Walmart is based on that store, so it varies overall. In general, I mean, I can usually always find something at Walmart, typically toys or grocery, but sometimes I do leave with just boxes, so it's not all the time. And just keep going back every once in a while if you're heading a dead end, or like I said, go to a different category or aisle, or just give up on Walmart for a little bit and come back to it later. Donna said she's almost ready to start FBA. She's just scared. She doesn't want to lose a lot of money. I will say that the way I look at it is pretend it's going to be a hobby, and how much money are you willing to spend on a hobby? Whether it's you want to start painting or crocheting or, you know, pick up soccer, you're going to need cleats and all that kind of stuff. How much are you going to spend on a hobby? So if you can put aside $500 to $1,000 to start your Amazon business, that's more than enough to start. And you just kind of assume that you might not ever make that money back. It's your hobby, right? You're doing it to learn and better yourself. But the thing is that if you keep doing it, you will make this work and learn it and be able to do it. So don't be scared to start. Just start and budget yourself. So if you're scared and you don't want to lose a lot of money, say how much are you willing to spend on this and try it and see how that goes. That way you're not losing any money. You know, you're not losing money. You can only lose as much money as you put into it. So you can like secure yourself. You're not going to lose thousands of dollars if you don't put thousands of dollars into it, if that makes sense. Eric asked the fastest way to make money. It's starting, buying stuff, sending it in, just keeping going. I mean, it's not going to be overnight. You're not going to make $1 million. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's work, but it works. If you want to do this, do it. Courtney asked, as a beginner, would I do retail arbitrage or online arbitrage? Like, which one do I recommend? Whatever one you have time for. A lot of single moms or stay-at-home moms, all that kind of stuff, you can only do, or stay-at-home dads, you can only do online arbitrage primarily, so do online arbitrage. I like shopping, well, I like shopping online too, personally, but I like shopping in-store for retail arbitrage. Online arbitrage is a little trickier. There's a little extra like learning curve to it because anyone can find stuff online, so you have to differentiate and go to places that people aren't as expected. So everyone's going to go to Walmart.com, Target, you know, all those big places, Kohl's. A lot of sellers are going to source there, so you do have to do a little more work, and prices will be tanking since more people can find it easily, but it does still work. So it's all personal preference and what you have time for and what you want to start with. Irene asked, how do I find replenishables? So replenishables are always a hot topic, and here's the thing, you guys. Replenishables only work if you can keep replenishing them. So that means don't tank the price, because when the price starts to tank, you cannot keep replenishing that consistently, right? You're not making money on it anymore. So replenishables are across the board, all different categories. You can find them throughout your Amazon sourcing. Typically for retail arbitrage, you can replenish them. A good item, sometimes you can do it for a couple years, off and on. I mean, there's some months where I don't find the thing that I'm replenishing, and then all of a sudden 3 months later I'm finding it again. So it goes off and on, but it can be things like coffee or lotion, a beauty product. Like, there's all different kinds of replens, and just the key is doing everything you can to keep that price up and high and making a profit. So that's all I have for you today. FYI, I'm in my living room in the RV. I don't think I said that in the beginning. So this is what it looks like a little bit. But I hope this video was helpful. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to subscribe, like, comment. I'll probably be saying that a little more now, even though it's a little cringy to me. But just in case you didn't know, as always, it helps me reach more people, help more Amazon sellers. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you back here for another Amazon selling video.